Shedeur Sanders obliterates college benchmarks in practice. NFL stunned by mind-blowing display. Shedeur Sanders didn't just put on a show, he detonated expectations with a performance so surreal, Browns coaches literally froze mid-play, jaws suspended mid-air, unable to process what they were witnessing. Now the entire NFL is demanding answers. The coaching staff was left speechless. "Give me 7 games and a ticket to the league," one source murmured as Cleveland's OTAs roared into another chapter. This is a franchise that went from playoff contenders in 2023 to a dismal 3-win collapse last year. For the Browns, quarterback uncertainty has become a haunting ritual. Who takes the reins under center this year? Deshaun Watson remains sidelined. Joe Flacco is still in the building. Kenny Pickett and rookies Dillon, Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders round out the room. Offensive coordinator Tommy Rees weighed in, starting notably with Shedeur. Look, the kid's worked his tail off. He's put in an immense amount of effort. All those guys have, but mentally, Shedeur's dialed in. He's learning the system, commanding the cadence, and building rhythm. And when you put in that kind of mental preparation, the game slows down. That's when you start hunting completions, and he's doing that. Sanders is the NFL's version of revenge served ice cold, but with heat you can't ignore. Drafted 144th overall, overlooked by nearly every franchise, he's now setting Berea on fire. His precision is melting skepticism and igniting questions league-wide. What happened at Browns practice wasn't merely impressive, it was historic. Veteran NFL insiders are whispering that Shedeur just submitted the most astonishing practice performance they've ever seen. Not a rumor, an eruption. Throws so crisp they're shifting the paradigm of pro football. Accuracy rates so surgical they've left seasoned veterans second-guessing their mechanics. One coach was caught mid-sentence stopping to just watch, speechless. But let me rewind. April 2025, the NFL draft. Shedeur Sanders, he of 8,000 plus passing yards over his final 2 college seasons, remains in the green room as round 2 ends, passed on by front offices more interested in long snappers and punters. One of the most refined quarterbacks in recent memory is still waiting, still unchosen. Can you imagine that feeling? You're Shedeur Sanders. You posted an off-target percentage of just 6.5%, top 3 in college football. Your passes are timed with such surgical precision that receivers don't even break stride. You're executing throws other QBs don't dare attempt. Yet 143 players are called before you. The whispers came fast. He's not built for the league. Can't handle pressure, too flashy, not enough substance. Team after team passed until Cleveland saw through the noise. The Browns were watching, plotting, learning. With pick number 144, they made their move. The football world shrugged. Another project, another maybe. But what if this isn't that story? Fast forward to July 2025. Browns training camp, Berea, Ohio. A sweltering summer day, the kind that exposes the weak and elevates the elite. The QB room is loaded. Super Bowl champ Joe Flacco, former first-rounder Kenny Pickett, third-round pick Dillon Gabriel, and then there's Shedeur, the forgotten one. Early reps were standard. Sanders quietly absorbed the playbook, synced with receivers, showed flashes. Coaches noted his arm strength, poise, and intelligence. But then came July 16th, the day that shattered everything we thought we knew. It began routinely, individual drills, position groups. But when team drills began, something shifted. Sanders stepped into the huddle with a different energy. Teammates felt it, coaches noticed it, even equipment managers stood still. And then the eruption began. Everything you thought you knew about NFL quarterback development just got obliterated. Shedeur Sanders shattered the blueprint. What unfolded next had even seasoned NFL scouts and coaches questioning the very fundamentals of the quarterback position. It started with a streak of 15 straight completions, not just throws, but laser-guided missiles threaded into impossibly tight windows. Veteran receivers, men who've caught passes from Pro Bowlers, stood there stunned. These weren't routine drills. These were high-stakes, split-second decisions, demanding elite arm talent, surgical precision, and football IQ far beyond his years. And yet, that was just his warm-up act. Then came the red zone period, the graveyard for rookie quarterbacks. It's where the field compresses, reads shorten, and pressure skyrockets. Most fifth-round picks simply hope to survive this portion without tossing an interception. Shedeur Sanders threw 27 straight touchdowns. Let me repeat that, 27 consecutive touchdown passes. To grasp the magnitude of that, understand this: the previous record in any NFL practice setting, rookie or veteran, was 16. Sanders didn't just beat that number, he annihilated it. He buried it in a grave so deep, no one will ever dig it up again. But it wasn't just about volume. These weren't lazy slants or dink and dunk passes. These were grown man throws, back shoulder fades to the corner pylon, tight window lasers through 3 layers of defenders, arching touch passes dropped perfectly between safeties and linebackers, the kind of throws you see in Super Bowls, the kind that make highlight reels for a decade. One particular throw caused total chaos on the sideline, goal line, third down, the pass rush crashing in. Sanders slid calmly in the pocket and, without even flinching at the edge rusher bearing down on his blind side, fired a spiral to the far back corner of the end zone. The receiver barely had to move. The ball landed in his hands like a birthday gift. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski stood frozen on the sideline, his jaw hanging open like a stunned spectator. The newly hired offensive coordinator, brought in to replace Ken Dorsey, was scribbling frantically. Even the defensive players who'd just been torched came over to dap Sanders up. They knew they had witnessed something generational, and Sanders wasn't finished. In the deep ball session, he connected on 19 straight passes of 20-plus yards, previous record 12. In the mobility drill, he completed every single throw on the move. In the 2-minute offense, he led his unit to 4 consecutive touchdown drives without a single incompletion. His final tally, 67 completions on 70 attempts. That's a 95.7% completion rate in an NFL practice under real pressure against real defenders. When the session ended, the locker room buzzed like it was post-game. Veterans with a decade in the league were treating Sanders like a future Hall of Famer. Joe Flacco, Super Bowl MVP, personally told him he'd never seen anything like it. But the numbers weren't even the most electrifying part. It was the demeanor, the poise, the command, the quiet intensity. Sanders wasn't some rattled rookie trying to earn favor. He was a field general planting a flag in enemy territory. This wasn't just a moment. It was a message to every franchise that passed on him. You got it wrong. And now the tremors are being felt across the NFL. Teams are already reaching out. Rumors say the Indianapolis Colts, desperate for quarterback help, are willing to offer a king's ransom to pry Sanders out of Cleveland. But the Browns have zero interest, not even a whisper of trade talks from their side. Why? Because what they saw wasn't a fluke. It was a preview, a prophetic glimpse of what's coming. This was supposed to be a project, a 2-year developmental experiment, a luxury pick for a quarterback room already full. Instead, Sanders is doing things that rewrite the expectations of the position. He's making coaches reconsider what's possible. He's not just exceeding expectations, he's destroying the entire scouting model. And remember, this is just the beginning. We haven't even gotten to his college resume. Back-to-back 4,000-yard seasons, a 69% completion rate under constant duress behind an O-line that couldn't stop a sneeze in a wind tunnel. Still, he led Colorado to their most competitive season in years. His slide in the draft had nothing to do with talent. It was narrative. It was prejudice. It was overthinking. Now, the same front offices that passed on him are lying awake at night, wondering how they missed the best quarterback in the entire class. And the scariest question of all, what if this is just his baseline? Because if that's true, the Cleveland Browns didn't just find a starter in the 5th round. They found a franchise-altering force of nature. And for the next decade, 31 teams will be haunted by the same phrase, what if we had just taken Shedeur Sanders? With cornerstone players approaching contract negotiations, veteran stars edging toward the twilight of their careers, and unexpected league-wide opportunities arising, Kansas City enters a critical juncture, one that could define the next decade at Arrowhead. Nothing is promised. Not another Super Bowl push, not locker room cohesion, not even coaching staff stability. As tension escalates behind the scenes, the organization faces urgent, high-stakes questions. Can the Chiefs lock in a burgeoning superstar in the secondary before the market skyrockets? Will they fortify the offensive and defensive lines, even if it means setting new financial precedents? Might a polarizing trade shift the balance of power in the AFC? Or unravel it altogether? The choices made in the coming weeks will either cement the dynasty's foundation or begin to erode its core. Let's break down the latest developments in Kansas City. But first, a quick favor. If you enjoy deep dives like this, smash that like button. It goes a long way in supporting the channel. Thank you for being part of the Chiefs community. The front office is actively exploring long-term extensions for several rising stars, and at the center of these negotiations is standout cornerback Trent McDuffie. On July 1st, Arrowhead Pride analyst Rohan Chakravarthy conducted a league-wide review of top-tier cornerback contracts and outlined a forward-thinking deal for McDuffie. He emphasized that with the CB market trending upward, the Chiefs would be wise to secure McDuffie's future sooner rather than later. Chakravarthy projected a 3-year, $97 million extension with a staggering $80 million in full guarantees. Factoring in McDuffie's existing rookie deal, which includes the 2025 season and a 5th-year option for 2026, the total payout balloons to $113.24 million. His breakdown highlights how the additional years would essentially be grafted onto McDuffie's rookie-scale contract. For reference, cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. signed a 5-year, $113 million deal with 2 years left on his rookie agreement. Though McDuffie's projected average from new money sits at $32.30 million annually, the blended annual value over 5 years lands closer to $22.65 million, a more feasible figure in today's cap landscape. A glaring inconsistency in the league's collective bargaining rules has also impacted McDuffie's valuation. Despite earning first-team and second-team All-Pro honors, achievements generally more prestigious than Pro Bowl appearances, McDuffie's 5th-year option remains undervalued. That's because the NFL still calculates that option based on Pro Bowl nods, not All-Pro designations, a structural flaw that disadvantages elite performers like McDuffie. Extending his contract now would rectify this inequity and reward exceptional performance that the current framework fails to fully acknowledge. Comparing McDuffie to former Chief L'Jarius Sneed further underscores the logic behind this investment. Aside from missing 6 games due to injury as a rookie, McDuffie has been a model of consistency, starting 16 games in both 2023 and 2024 and appearing in 10 playoff matchups across 3 seasons. He turns just 25 this September. Meanwhile, Sneed, though similarly versatile, was 27 at the time of his departure and carried more wear and tear. The Chiefs' decision to move on was quickly validated. Sneed played just 5 games for Tennessee in 2024 before succumbing to injury, reinforcing Kansas City's belief in McDuffie's long-term reliability and impact. Meanwhile, another key piece of the Chiefs' 2025 puzzle is returning. According to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport, Kansas City is bringing back their leading rusher from last season, veteran running back Kareem Hunt, on a 1-year, $1.5 million deal. The reunion adds proven depth to the backfield and strengthens the team's offensive identity heading into another championship run. Now 29 years old and turning 30 this August, Kareem Hunt's 2024 campaign marked a powerful redemption arc in Kansas City. Signed in September, After an injury sidelined Isaiah Pacheco, Hunt immediately became a steady force in the backfield, ultimately leading the team with 724 rushing yards during the regular season. This signing wasn't just about production, it symbolized a second chance. Originally drafted by the Chiefs in the third round of the 2017 NFL Draft, Hunt burst onto the scene as a dominant starter during his first 2 seasons. But that rise was abruptly halted when a video surfaced showing him assaulting a woman, an incident he initially denied to team officials. The Chiefs released him in November 2018, and Hunt later signed with the Cleveland Browns in February 2019, where he spent 5 seasons rebuilding his image and career. Fast forward to 2024, Hunt returned to Kansas City and almost instantly became the team's featured back.